Hello, this is Sheshachalam from Astroguide Mysore. Today, let us talk about the transit of Jupiter and Rahu in particular and the orb of influence. This concept of orb of influence has been discussed in the theory of Tajaka system. If you go through the book of written by Tajaka Nilakanta, you can see that the orb of influence of each planet has been defined. So, Jupiter being a huge planet, the orb of influence is 9 degrees. So, the orb of influence of Rahu is a little bigger than that. It's a huge, we'll not call it as a planet or we'll call it as an influence. So, a dark influence, okay, which gives a lot of courage. And because it is dark, sometimes when it interacts with a benefic planet like Jupiter, which is also called as the Guru Chandala Yoga, the confluence is called as Guru Chandala Yoga. Here, actually, a conflict is happening. Many things negative can happen. So, today, let us discuss when the confluence will start, when it will come to its peak point, when it will start slowly dissipating and it will go to the negative side and slowly finish off. So this is a highly technical calculation, not highly technical calculation, it's not that difficult to do. So if you see today's position as per the longitude, Nirayana longitude, that is the Vedic fixed zodiac methodology, we can see that Rahu on 29th of April, that is today, is at 9 degrees in Aries and Jupiter is at 1 degree in Aries. The difference is at 8 degrees. So, though if the orb is 9 degrees, why am I taking 8 degrees? Is because I wanted that, when we put the Venn diagram, you don't want the circles to just touch. You want them to start merging. So the merge is happening. So I am not taking Rahu as 15 degrees as on date. I am taking Rahu as 9 degrees only because I want that merge happening into the middle point of Rahu, that is the core of Rahu. So if I take 15 degrees of Rahu, for instance, if I take 15 degrees of Rahu, the midpoint is 7.5 degrees each, right? So if I take 15 degrees orb of Rahu, orb of influence, that is wherever Rahu is, the orb of influence on either side is 15 degrees. So 15 degrees. So either side is 15 degrees. So from the center, the midpoint would be 7.5 degrees. So if this is the center of Rahu, this is 7.5 degree mark and this is 15 degree mark. So from my experience, I have not seen too much of influence from 0 degree to 7.5 degrees, and only the point from 7.5 degrees to the core of Rahu is having super influence of Rahu. So now Jupiter is here. It has passed this point. It has come here, and Rahu is here. You know that Rahu moves slower than Jupiter. It goes in the anti, clockwise direction. Jupiter moves in the cyclic order, in the cyclic direction. Now it's not retro, so it's moving in the cyclic path from Aries, Taurus, like that, in the forward path. So Rahu coming from this side at 1.5 years per Rashi speed, Jupiter going forward at 1 year per Rashi speed are going to meet. So what is going to happen? is what we are going to talk today. But let us see the dates. So today, Jupiter is at 1 degree, Rahu is at 9 degrees on 29th of April, and Jupiter and Rahu both will be exactly at 0 degrees. That is, they will merge on 3 days, because 0 degrees means within 1 degree. Let us take it as within 1 degree. 27th, 28th and 29th of May. So it's a faraway period. It's not tomorrow. So 29th of April, 29th of May, 1 month it will take for it to cross 8 degrees and both of them to come and join together. And the 1 degree period, which is called as the event, that is, Rahu is behind Jupiter by 1 degree and again ahead of Jupiter by 1 degree. So that is a 2 degree mark. We are taking Jupiter as the midpoint now. So that is, uh, when there is a forest fire coming, where our house is situated is more important, not the forest fire. So Jupiter is more important, not Rahu. So we are now bothered about the Jupiter. Jupiter is what is very important. I'll tell you why it is important. So Rahu is like the forest fire. It's coming and it's anyway Aries. It's forest fire only. So 1 degree mark from Jupiter. From 24th of May till 31st of May. So it's 1 full week. 1 full week within 1 degree on either side. I thank all these dates to my wife. She has done all this back end work. So, yeah, she is here. She is my backbone and also my camera. So it's like on either side. So, then it will start parting. So we call this parting. That means in Tajika system, it's called as Ithasala Yoga and Israfa Yoga. You know, Ithasala Yoga, meeting, Israfa Yoga, parting. So this parting happens that Rahu is now going away into Meena Rashi and Jupiter is going away into Mesha Rashi in the middle of it. So this parting is like they are going away from each other like this. So this parting happens starting from 29th and till 2nd of July. 2nd of July. Okay, not June. Keep in mind, it's not June. So the whole month of June, the influence is there. Jupiter Rahu influence is fully there the whole month of June. So 2nd of July, 6 degrees Rahu in Aries, 15 degrees Jupiter in Aries. So both are still in Aries. With all this happening in between, we know that today is 29th. Sun is exactly at 15 degrees of Aries, exactly in the sense very near to. Why? On the 14th midnight or the 15th early morning, as per the Indian IST, Sun came into Aries. That was the Sankramana, what we call as Ugadi. And after that, it has started moving 1 degree each day. So 29th. So today, so if I do a simple calculation from 15th morning till today is around 14 and a half days. So it's 14 and a half degrees or 15th degree. So sun is also very much inside this influence. You can understand there is a huge conflict of consciousness, wisdom and overconfidence, the dark matter, Rahu. So let us now go into the predictions. So this was the mathematics. Okay. Rahu has already touched the orb of Jupiter. Now understand, the orb of Jupiter was 9 degrees, as I said, is 9 degrees. And Rahu has a huge orb. So it has already touched the orb of Jupiter. The effect of Rahu, now that it is at 9 degrees and will transit for a period till it is 9 degrees behind Jupiter. That is, it will come into Jupiter and go behind Jupiter. Jupiter will bear its effect. Whose effect? Rahu's effect. And what does Jupiter represent? I have simply written it down so that easy for me to. Financial think tank of this world, wholly dependent on Jupiter, because that is the wisdom for further development, banks, investment banking, growth, stability in food production. You need regular supply of food. Some food doesn't simply come to your table just like that. It's because there is a huge chain, a network which is working, so that you press a button and just tell, your doorbell will ring and you will get a bag full of grocery or vegetables. It doesn't simply happen. It has a complicated process. It's a very complicated process, and it is complicated because we have made it complicated. You don't grow your food, right? So you don't have space to grow your food now. So that means you have to rent somebody's land, you have to pay somebody to work there, and you have to put a demand that I want this vegetable, then that will come to your place. Imagine, it's a big thing to happen. Okay, so that is stable food supply and production and supply. Well-being, here well-being means many things. Sudden job losses which are happening gives panic, anxiety, sleeplessness, health getting spoiled, mental health gone. Suddenly 15,000 jobs, 20,000 jobs, layoffs, putting them on the bench. They don't know, they don't have a work, they are getting their paycheck, but they don't know when they are going to be shunted home. This is also well-being. This is Jupiter, mind it. The financial, the whole world is controlled there. If a country goes on a war, you mean to say they will sit there and they will start, producing video games? There's no time for all that. You need to now protect your country. So many industries will simply collapse if a country is on war or on a brink of getting into a war situation. You know what has happened to Ukraine? People are suffering. You know what is happening in Sudan? People are suffering. People are going through hell. They have gone through hell and they are still going through hell. You know what happened in Syria? What about the general public? That's why when we have read a lot of sentences. They're not, when two elephants fight, elephants will go through a little bit of damage. One guy will break his tusk, the other guy will get a lot of injury. He'll get scratches, scars. But what about the ground, man? The grass is totally trampled, killed. So the population is like the grass. When two countries fight, no, elephants fight, the population is simply unnecessarily going through trouble. This is what might happen when Rahu and Brihaspati, they both meet in Aries this year. So, well-being also means healthcare and the supplies, and again the supply system of medicines, supply of healthcare products, like all the equipment, to a particular place where it is required. That might unnecessarily escalate because of warlike situations. When there is an earthquake, there is a flood, there is a fire, there is a war, you need suddenly to rush medicines there. This thing can happen in these next 2.5 months. So, when Rahu hits Jupiter or hits these significations, it destabilizes all the three factors. Very important. That is money, health, and food. The most important factors these are money, that is the job, the whole industry, health, mental health also, physical health also, and food, which is actually our basis. So our life. So Rahu is the impurity and it destroys. It's like a terrorist attack, a war, a tense situation which will cripple strong nations and will have a ripple effect. A ripple effect when you throw a stone in a plain, a lake, a pond which is tranquil, you get those ripples. They keep coming. So this is a ripple effect. It keeps coming. It's like a cascade. It once happens, it simply cascades. So it's a ripple effect on all the nations which are dependent on the other nation, which is a bigger nation. you know many small nations are totally dependent on other nations nowadays. It's because they have lot of financial tie-ups. Like for example, there are many nations in the world who only do tourism. They don't have any other income. They don't have any. If the tourists simply lift their hand and they tell, we are not going to travel anymore for this year, those guys will have to simply fish in the ocean and eat fish. They don't have anything else to do. They can't do anything else because they have fully invested all their money and everything on hotels, the resorts, the inns, the stays, everything, equipments like boats, scuba diving. They have fully, the whole life of many island nations are on tourism. So they will get hit. So which are, countries which are small countries which are dependent on the bigger countries for food resources, financial aid, etc., they get hit. This is what is going to happen in another 2.5 months. So it's high time that you suddenly don't put your money and invest it in market. Mars, that is Aries, it will tell, let us, I have got some money. Pisces has given money. No, Jupiter was in Pisces, it gave money. Let me put it in Mars and burn it. Don't do that. Wait till the period. And what is the period? 2nd of July. Wait till then. Observe the market. You may lose. If the market rises also, then you might tell, I was thinking of steel and this fellow stopped me from doing it, and that steel has risen, and what should I do? No problem. 2 months of loss, not a problem. But in case it would have fallen down, you would have totally gone out. So uh, the time till May 15th, when sun transits into the sign of Taurus, you need to be careful with regard to your investments, because natural calamities can suddenly happen in many places which we will not have any idea about. Earthquakes, forest fires can happen, and earthquake can also happen because of my earlier video. If you have seen that, I have hinted about this in the solar eclipse video, the solar eclipse which happened on 20th. The earthquakes can happen. The aftermath of the solar eclipse is more important than just before it. So it's an alert to everybody that the ongoing um, confluence of Jupiter and Rahu might escalate many issues pertaining to financial distress. And hence, these 2 months, my advice is, keep yourself in caution. You don't have to be tensed, and be happy. Yeah.
You can add that 6, 8, and 12 sentence for which it is 6, 8, and 12. Like for Taurus, it is 12.
Exactly, and even the seventh also. So the sixth, eighth, and 12th. For example, for Taurus it is 12th, and for Scorpio it is 6th, and for Virgo it is 8th. For these ascendants, this particular confluence is extremely difficult with regard to health, investment, and wasteful travel. So be a little cautious. Thank you very much for today's class.
The punchline.
Yeah, yeah, I forgot the punchline itself. The punchline is as good as the title of this, is that wisdom is hijacked. You know, by whom? Wisdom is Jupiter hijacked by Rahu. Thank you very much.